Welcome to Roots and Wings, the podcast from the Fox Hill School, where we share ideas, insights, and conversations to help your children grow strong and soar high. I'm Melanie Little, and I'm the director at the Fox Hill School. Today, I'm talking with Pam Ferris, who is the Assistant Director of Aspire Early Intervention. Hi, Pam. Thanks so much for talking with me.
Hi, Melanie. It's great to be here.
Pam also, her children went to the Fox Hill School back when my kids were at the Fox Hill School. And now all of our kids are in their 20s. So
Yep.
I've known Pam for a long time, and it's so exciting to be collaborating with Aspire after all these years.
Absolutely. It's so nice to be back and to see familiar photos on the walls.
Exactly. Oh, that's so fun. So I feel like many parents of young children may not really have a complete understanding of what early intervention is.
Mm-hmm.
Can you start by explaining what kinds of services Aspire provides?
Sure. We offer home-based services for children from birth to 3, focusing on every area of development: motor skills, communication, social emotional growth, feeding, sensory needs, and more. Our teams include occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech language pathologists, social workers, mental health clinicians, and developmental specialists. So we have a wide variety of staff.
All at Aspire.
All at Aspire, all working with children from birth to 3.
Okay.
We also are able to support children during transitions. So moving from early intervention setting to preschool, or even during early intervention, moving into childcare settings, so that there's a smooth handoff and your child's set up for success.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Services can also happen wherever your child is. So that's what we call a natural environment. So that's at home, childcare, grandparents' house, or any community setting. As long as it's a place where we can work on your family priorities and their goals. And many children do end up receiving services both at childcare and at home, which is nice, a kind of nice balance in the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's great. Can you explain why early intervention is so important for families?
Early intervention is right there in the name. The earlier kind of we get in, the better. So it's really about giving children the best start possible, which is why we can actually start with a family at birth or right after birth. We can go in and do evaluations. As we all know, as well as I do, children's brains are developing at lightning speed at this age. They change so much in the 3 years. And by partnering with families early, we're able to weave those supports right into their daily routines. So whether that's at home, at the playground, or even at childcare, your child's getting what they need when it matters most. And honestly, the earlier we start, the more progress we usually see. And that can either reduce the need for services later on or help your child be ready for the next step after age 3 when we end our services.
So it's better to kind of jump in and get started than say, oh, well, I'm going to wait a while and see what happens.
Exactly. The nature of our business is to not wait.
Okay.
So if someone says to you, oh, wait a few months and see, there's really no need in early intervention to do that. You can jump right in whenever you might have a question or concern about your child.
Yeah. And so if you start and you don't need what you thought you need, kind of doesn't matter because you're working on all kinds of things.
Exactly. A lot of that's a really good point. Often it will change. So you might refer because your child's not walking, and then 6 months later we're saying, oh, we don't hear a lot of words, and we'll work on that.
Okay, that's great. The full service sounds amazing. Support through all the times.
Yes.
You mentioned that Aspire providers will come into your home to work with kids or go to their school or playground or something like that. What about groups? Do you offer group settings that kids could work with?
Yes, we absolutely do. We offer both toddler groups and parent-child groups out in the community, like the ones we run here at Fox Hill School. And this year, we're especially excited about our new Lunch Bunch feeding group at Fox Hill. I know, which helps kids practice eating in a social setting around that lunchtime.
Perfect. Yeah, we were very excited. This summer we had our first parent-child play group on Mondays, which was wonderful. And then starting in the school year, in the upstairs class in the afternoons, we're going to have the Aspire come in and do those kind of group lunch bunch groups, which I think would be awesome.
Kids tend to copy other children and do what everyone else is doing. So those types of settings for mealtime, which can be difficult for some kids, can kind of take that pressure off in settings such as kind of a fun group with your peers.
Yeah. And are those groups for a specific age, or?
Those groups are for children who are between the ages of, let's say, 18 months and 3. So kids that can sit at a little table and eat a snack and kind of explore.
Awesome. That's going to be great. So how does a parent know when it's time to reach out and look into early intervention services?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think a lot of parents don't know when that might be. But typically we would say that if they're noticing that their child isn't hitting certain motor milestones, such as rolling, crawling, walking, or they notice that they're not talking or repeating words as maybe other kids that they see are doing, that might be something to refer for. Sometimes it's another caregiver, a daycare provider, a grandparent, a teacher, or a doctor that expresses a concern. So for some families, someone else is bringing that concern to them. There is the CDC, or Centers for Disease Control, has a great milestone tracker that we always refer our families to that can be really helpful. It kind of tells you what your child should be doing at each age. And there's an app, you can track that on your phone, or there's a website.
Wow.
So that's, we can get that information to you guys later. Some other reasons some families call us, some children aren't making eye contact or engaging in the kind of those social back and forth games that you might think that they should when they're little. Again, that limited sounds, they're not making a lot of sounds, or they're having a hard time making sounds. Some kids you'll see might not approach other children to play. When you go to the park, they might be shy, or they might be for other reasons not kind of playing as you might expect. Some kids have really big challenges with tantrums, hitting and biting beyond what is typical at that age.
Yeah.
I think we see a lot of trouble eating, back to our lunch bunch group.
Yeah.
Sleeping can be difficult. Sleeping in cribs and on beds and all of those things can be hard. And we can definitely work with families on strategies for that.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
Yep. Some sensory issues with kids, sometimes tolerating daily care routines. Toothbrushing is really hard. Hair washing is really hard. I know I had a challenge with my own with the hair washing. Kids can have strong reactions to certain textures or messy play. So you might notice your child not want to touch certain things or get kind of messy in that finger paint. And then some children, you'll notice these repetitive play patterns, like lining up toys or spinning them instead of playing with them. So really our role is to help you understand how your child learns and then show you that the small everyday changes that can make such a big difference that you might not have thought of on your own.
Absolutely. I wouldn't even know that those are things you could ask about. That's such great information.
Yeah. We really do cover overall development. And even some parent support, helping parents to locate support groups or find some of our parent-child groups is a really nice time for parents to come together to talk and support each other.
Absolutely. When you have little kids, it can definitely feel lonely sometimes as the parent. You feel like you're in it by yourself, but it's nice to know there's lots of resources out there. You just have to know where they are.
That's right.
That's great. So you had mentioned, obviously I'm definitely going to look up the CDC milestone app. But is Aspire only for children with a diagnosed delay or a disability?
So many of our services are for children that would show a delay or have a diagnosis of something. But those groups that I talked about, those are open to all children under 3. We have different groups for different age ranges, as you had alluded to earlier. And those are no cost to families. We welcome kids that are enrolled in early intervention. We really like this integrated model that they do into the school system, where all kids are kind of interacting and engaging together. So we run those groups in different settings. preschools, the Ys in North Shore, the play spaces, gyms. And at our Lynn office is where we run toddler-only groups that parents actually drop off their children for 2.5 hours. And then those kids get that introduction to preschool. So they're practicing those important skills, sharing, taking turns, participating in circle times, transitioning between activities, which can be difficult, and then the opportunity to really engage and communicate with their peers.
Becoming good citizens.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so your child doesn't have to have a disability to use Aspire services.
Not to participate in those group settings. Absolutely not. And sometimes a child might come to a group and we might notice something that could be that might be really helpful to be evaluated, and we might recommend that they come in for an evaluation, or that we come out for an evaluation. We go to your home for that, but that you would refer to us to have that looked at further if that's something that we notice as well.
This is all such great information. I really didn't know that early intervention was so wide-reaching and covered so many things, and is such a good resource for all parents.
All parents, I know.
Yeah, all parents. If a parent who is listening would like to get started with Aspire, how could they do that?
Yeah, I think another misconception is that someone has to refer you like your doctor, but that's not true. It's really simple. Anyone can refer themselves and their child just simply by calling us at our main office number and filling out a referral form with our office person that answers, or that we have a online form that's even easier, and that's at aspiredevelopmental.org. And you can fill out that form and someone will call you back to schedule the first few visits. So we do an intake with you as a family, and then we schedule that developmental evaluation, which looks at all areas of development. That's a standardized tool we use. It's called the Battelle Developmental Inventory. And that tells us how your child's doing compared to their peers. That's how it's standardized. And then if you are, there's different scores and levels of development that we look at to, kind of what's typical and age appropriate, and then a little bit below average. And then the Massachusetts sets a certain limit of when kids are eligible. And then if they're eligible, then you typically get a year of services. We reevaluate every year. Services are voluntary. So if you decide to have services with us and then your child is doing great, you can end at any time. And the other great part is most insurances, either private or public insurance, pays for early intervention in the state of Massachusetts. And if they don't, here's the good part, the Department of Public Health covers any other costs. So there's never an out-of-pocket cost for families in early intervention.
Wow, that's amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, this is now my new favorite part. So if parents are looking for an evaluation, they can go to the website or call.
That's
if they want to be involved in one of these groups, you gave me a flyer that I can put in our show notes, and that is kind of just a signing up process.
That's exactly right. You call us, and our wonderful group person, Amy, will tell you what groups we have available, and then you register, and it's kind of a simple process to do that. And all the groups we have are listed, and she'll let you know as well.
That's awesome. Well, I will put all these links to the CDC milestones and all of the resources that Pam mentioned in our show notes. And I just want to thank you so much. I've learned so much in just a few minutes. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
That's great. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. I love, the memories of Fox Hill School and your desire to always educate parents and have so many different programs for kids to help them. It's been a joy for even our kids they remember it so fondly. So thank you.
That's so amazing. And 20 years later, I'm still learning. So it's a never-ending process.
Yep, we all are.
Well, thank you so much. And hopefully, if there's an opportunity to get in touch with you again, we'll have you back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And otherwise, we'll look forward to our collaboration and our lunch bunch meetings at the school. So all exciting things coming up this school year.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you to everyone for listening to Roots and Wings from the Fox Hill School. For more resources and upcoming episodes, visit foxhill-school.com. See you next time.